Hello, hello. You're listening to the Goggler podcast. Ian, Bahir, and Uma with you. At least 2 out of 3 of us now sporting new haircuts.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Look
I'm
at that.
sporting a cap. I'm
Look
just
at
like,
that.
screw it, I'm going to put on a cap, be done with it.
Yeah, because it's not just after your second shot, Bahir. You've got to wait another 3 weeks after that, right?
Two, please,
Two,
God,
sorry.
two. Two
Sorry,
weeks,
two,
please,
two.
God,
Okay,
please, two.
okay.
Yeah.
At first I was all
but-
like, Sinovac, really? And then I was all like, Sinovac and a haircut, really?
Damn.
Oh, let me tell you, man, my head feels lighter. It's
Yeah.
great. Oh,
I literally
yeah,
feel
just-
like a great weight was lifted off my shoulders.
right? You can feel the breeze in your head. We're just kind of rubbing it into Bahir now. How does that feel, Bahir? Is it hot under that cap? Huh?
Shut your mouths.
All right. Welcome to the Goggler podcast. This week we've got a bunch of great stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf, which is a brand new Netflix anime spin-off from the Witcher series. They're building their own Witcher cinematic universe, of course. We're also going to be talking about a Malaysian original on Disney Plus Hotstar, Ada Hantu, which premiered last Friday. So we've had a chance to see it now, and we're going to be reviewing that movie as well. We're going to be kicking things off with The Witcher, though. Ian, you've got a review on the site, and you really liked it.
Yeah.
And I did too, as in I was entertained. I wasn't bored watching it. I gotta ask you something though. Like, it didn't do anything for me. No, in that, we're all science fiction fantasy geeks here, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of enjoy these kind of stories and these worlds and all of that stuff. And there are times when a show kind of does it for me that I go down a rabbit hole and I want to read the books and I want to play the video games and I want to do all of this stuff. And I don't know if it's just leftovers from the Cable series, which, yet again, I thought was beautifully made and constructed, but just it didn't do anything for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
that's what I did. I went back and looked at your review and I was like, it was all right, I thought. And then I read the review. I was like, oh no, we didn't really like this. I didn't have time to listen to our podcast on it.
Yeah.
But since then, I have been playing a lot of The Witcher 2 Assassin of Kings, which,
Right.
like the TV show, just drops you in with no idea. Like, you're with it. I didn't play the first game. It's on PC. It's not on my Xbox. You're running around with some king. I thought I would be hunting, like the same with the TV show. I thought I'm going to be hunting monsters. I'm going to be, learning their tells and their tricks, preparing potions and different things and the right sword
Kind of like
oils.
Monster Hunter. Yeah.
Kind of, again, but Monster Hunter, I don't know, Monster Hunter didn't give me that either when I played that for a while. But it's like, I thought I'd be getting all that, and then I'm not. I'm going out with kings, and eventually I'm going out with hunts. And yes, there is some venom that works best on your sword when you're fighting giant spiders. And there's other things that, when you get accosted by bandits, if you're using your silver sword, it really doesn't do much, despite the fact it's a sharp silver sword. You're better off using your other sword for humans.
Sure.
But also, I still don't understand most of that world. Yes, I understand the mechanics of the game, but I don't understand why there are Witchers, what's going on. And I felt that this show gave me that in a much better way.
Yeah, but
Totally agree.
yeah, but I still don't know why though. You know what I mean? Like, they're witches, they're made, and and that's fine. But it just feels like I feel like there's a question that hasn't been answered.
There's
is.
something that's slightly spoilery where it's like I think it's Vesemir when he's a kid or when at some point he's talking to the mage, the Breitbart, whatever his name was, Breitbart, that mage guy, the bad news guy. There's a conversation there about crossbreeds and that they generally can't breed in the wild, but they have been through genetic engineering essentially.
Yes.
And that is why there are Witchers, because someone fucked up in the past and someone is trying to clean up the mistakes in the present.
And also the mages are the ones that are actually making the witches or made the first Witcher and then so on and so forth, right? Yeah, but it just none of it. I think I'm with Uma here. None of it compelled me to rewatch the Cavill series or play the game or read a Wikipedia page. I just I watched it twice.
Oh, really?
Thinking that
He did.
I actually thought I missed something because I remember watching it the first time, and then I was like, okay, cool, I've seen it, ready for the podcast, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, I don't know what any of that was. So I actually sat through it again, and yeah, it's not that again. It's not I didn't like it. It's beautiful. Some of those fight sequences was great.
Like the fight sequence was stunning at the end, right?
And for me, there's that one bit. I can't remember her name.
You can never remember anybody's name.
There's only 4 characters listed on IMDb. So it's either Lady Zorpst or Gilcrest. Is it Gilcrest? Tetra?
It's the
older lady.
Character.
That's the older lady, Lady Zorpst.
Yeah. So when there was that one scene towards the end where she was lying in snow, and then the way the gold she's doing a snow angel thing, and then the gold coins were flowing. I thought that was beautiful.
That was kind of alright. I mean, the coins were CGI, which I didn't like because it doesn't match with the rest of the animation. But sure.
I see. I liked when they did that. I thought that it sort of really popped. But, I'm just like I don't know. I don't know about this show. Yeah.
Well, I agree with you, Ian, in that I think this is a far better introduction to the world. So if you want to enter the world of The Witcher, they do some timey-wimey stuff here as well, but it is a far more coherent introduction to the world, the characters, what's going on, what their purpose is, etc., right?
And it's a more standard structure as well. It's like, here's your hero, here's what he does, you see him fight a bit, and then it's like, and previously on Vesemir's life, and then it's popping back and forth between the past and the present. And I found Theo James to be decent enough. Like, he's the different... he's Henry Cavill in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. instead of Henry Cavill as The Witcher, which was just grunting. And it's fine, and that was what they're going for in that series. But he is he enjoys hunting monsters.
Being a Witcher.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because I was going to say something sacrilegious in that I prefer Vesemir to Geralt.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. This is the thing. It was only... True, watching this, like you talked about the timey-wimey thing, there is no idea of where this is, because this is another one of these worlds like Star Wars where it could be last week, it could be 1,000 years ago. Everything looks the same, and there is like ties to what's going on, but there is. I don't want to say anything about spoilers, but this is almost like the golden age of Witchers. This is the High Republic, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well, I would say it's probably on the other side of that, right? Because it's towards the end. Because they were already saying that the witches are leaving.
It's episode 3 rather than episode 1, right? Star Wars wise.
Kind of. And there's a very interesting dynamic that goes on between witches and the rest of the world as they too are trying to figure out how to live with these people and what purpose they serve, etc. And so all of those, I guess, political intrigue is somewhat interesting. And I can't figure out why it doesn't appeal to me, and that was what was bothering me.
Yeah,
because should be laser targeted towards a sucker like me. I should want the toys and the swords and shit. And I don't know what it is about this series that isn't landing with me. Are we getting old? Is that it?
I think neither of you watched Dota Dragon's Blood, did you?
No. I watched like an episode and got really bored.
Yeah, so I watched all of that because I think I wrote the review for that. Also, which was also by Studio Mir, the animation, and maybe it was that because I went into this expecting, right, this is going to be a spin-off. It could either be. I was expecting Geralt, like I said in my review. I got confused because in the video game, Triss is a big character and she's not in the TV show, and Ciri's in the third game, but she's not in the second. I was confused. I'm lost. I was like, I need to check some Wikipedia pages, and then it didn't matter. But I thought it's telling a different story. Okay, that's fine. But like the Dota thing is like, we're doing a spin-off, but it's like, these are character archetypes that are just in the game. You know what I mean? There's no storyline behind them. Or the storyline they've made up is literally, we imported models for another game into our game type, and now we have to come up with backstories, and now we've made an anime out of that because that's what you do. This just felt a lot more integrated and more enjoyable. Like, I found myself enjoying it. And when the reveal comes, which we don't want to spoil, I was thinking one character is a grown-up version of a character that the Witcher knows as a youth, because it seems to be leading that way, and that would have led that person to hate Witchers because of the way he left the relationship. And it turns out it's not that person, it's another person. And I was actually caught out by that. Were you?
Oh, same. Yeah. I think, yet again, this story as a standalone piece of animation, whatever, an hour, 40 minutes, was great. Like, I think it even works well as a standalone show. And
that's the other thing. Sorry, that's the other point I had. Spin-offs, they generally don't move anything along. Whereas this is like telling the fall of something elvish in the Lord of the Rings, to quote Bahir's poster. Like, it is a point, And it is a point in the storyline that makes more sense. It's just that The Witcher, I haven't read the books, but I've talked to my mate Gavin about it, and he's like, yeah, it is just a series of stories that you have to piece together, not in the same way as the show, but it is you piece together the bigger story. And they're doing that here. And if you Google the name of the place where the Witchers live, there is the number one result. I wouldn't watch it before next week. The number one result is, here's a video on the fortress of the Witchers and how it leads into season 2.
Right.
So I didn't put it in my review because it will factor in. Geralt's going there. So there is, it's going to have some play on things. So I liked it for those hooks. I felt that the action was fun. The character was fun. I found myself enjoying it. I was genuinely shocked when things happen. And then there's a battle at the end that it feels like I wasn't expecting in an animated movie. I wasn't expecting them to do a big fight that is like the fight you should have gotten at the end of Revenge of the Sith. You know what I mean?
Correct.
You feel like, oh well, they're not holding back on this at all. And that just lit me up.
That final fight was so well choreographed, and the twists that take place within that fight as well,
I think was
so well placed, and just I didn't know what was going on, and it was genuinely thrilling, right?
Yeah.
And of course, there's another spin-off coming as well, The Witcher Blood Origin. That one's got Michelle Yeoh in it because it is now Michelle Yeoh's world. We are all just living here.
Is that animated? I was looking for something else on Netflix, and it just pops up that thing where it just has the black poster with the white text.
That one's live action.
Ah, that's why. But if it hasn't got any publicity or poster, but some enterprising soul has put the placeholder in the database, you get that poster.
So apparently,
hang on.
All of the spin-offs serve to expand the history of the Witchers. So far, they've announced only 2. This one's the first one, Nightmare of the Wolf, and then Blood Origin's the other one. And all of them kind of supposedly serve to expand the world of The Witcher. But the original Witcher season 2 with Henry Cavill will continue Geralt's storyline.
Geralt's story, got it.
Which I mean, you said you played a little bit of
Witcher 3.
Witcher 3. Are we talking an hour or two, or?
No, like more than that, but which is kind of like the show because it starts off and it's like a super long introduction where you don't do anything really.
Yeah, no, Witcher 2 does that as well. I think that's par for the course. That was the same.
Okay.
But the third one is the wild. Like the reason for his amnesia is he died. Like that's this like they kind of didn't bring that up in the TV show, right? But it's part of the lore. Yeah, Geralt kind of died. There's this thing called the Wild Hunt, which is like the Wild Hunt in the Neil Gaiman Simon stories. It's a weird like thing. It's just a group of people who hunt things, and he seemed to have beaten them, but he doesn't remember how or why or what or whatever. But he's going to grunt at people.
Because he doesn't have much of a memory, right? Yeah. And he comes back, and you're supposed to relearn all of these things.
Yeah.
It's a great way to reset the game.
Yeah, it's the Metroidvania reset where they give you the first level where you have all the powers. It's overwhelming, and then they say they take it all away from you.
Right.
This just sounds like too much homework to play a game.
It is a lot of homework. No, you're right. Because the conversations that happen in the first part of The Witcher 3 kind of reintroduce you to all of these characters and your skills. And yeah, it's so that you can jump in at The Witcher 3 without having played 1 and 2. But when they do it in a TV show, it just feels a little weird.
Yeah.
I have to say, though, like, I think, it was a very good show, and even though it may not have been for me, I think this is exactly the kind of thing we want to see for franchises that kind of fans will love. Because I think if you are a fan of The Witcher, if you've read the books, if you've played the games, this is such a great faithful way to put whatever that is on screen. Like you can see that the people who have made this feel incredibly passionate about this.
Yeah, I think it's something similar, I guess, to something that they did with Shadow and Bone. The days of we'll do the lesser important stories first, and when we have a following, we'll do the big one. Forget about it. Don't blow your one. To quote Hamilton, don't miss your one shot. You just that's it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Go for it. And this seems to be going for it in a big way. I found it enjoyable. And I was just surprised that it wasn't a shoddy knockoff, and that was what I was expecting.
Same, because the track record with the anime adaptations have not been great.
And I also like I don't know if Graham McTavish has a contract now for just every Netflix show. He was the soldier in the air traffic control in Blood Red Sky.
Yes, he was.
I didn't realize he was. It's been a while. Like when The Witcher aired on Netflix, we were living in a very different world. He's also in that show. I've no recollection of him in that show, in the live action show.
Wait, he's in the live action show?
Apparently, he plays
Uh,
the
it was-
Dijkstra, Dijkstra, Dijkstra.
it was too long and too many COVID cases.
Yeah, it was a pandemic ago. We're not expected to remember that.
Yeah.
It's a podcast
No.
number 1 or 2, was it?
It was very
No.
close to that.
Yeah.
I think it was when we were still doing the other Goggler podcast, where we would
yes.
have short spin-off episodes where we would dive deep into a show.
We don't talk about that podcast anymore.
That was too long ago. No, let's not go there.
I don't know, but did you guys laugh though? Because neither of you have played Deus Ex, right? I presume these animators must have tied it into the Deus Ex thing, because like he is the spitting image of a character, Adam Jensen, who's in the 2 Deus Ex games by Square or Eidos, and that's the guy with the robot arms. And there was this like they were doing this kind of mix between the Renaissance and cyberpunk kind of thing before Cyberpunk 2077 came along. It's a sneaky about game. They've been around for decades, but there's just the whole thing was, he got his arms blown off and he gets the very best tech on board because he works for the company's security division, and it's this kind of thing. I never asked for this was the thing he said. So when that female character says to him, "I know you didn't ask for this," I was like, it can't be just
A coincidence.
Like, it is ridiculous. I think I linked from it in the article. If you just Google Adam Jensen, I didn't ask for this. It's just pages of memes.
Nice. Nice. So either it's a tribute to Deus Ex or a tribute to the memes. Either way.
Yeah, either way.
It works either way.
Either way, it sounds like neither of you two asked for this.
Yeah, no.
No.
But having played the game, I did get a little thrill when it wasn't in the I put the subtitles on early because they started saying names, and I was like, I'm never going to get these down.
How do I spell this?
Yeah.
Again, coming back to there's only 4 names on the IMDb page for the actors, and their character name, and their character names aren't even fully on there. When he's fighting the Leshen and he goes Igni. Igni's one of the 6 superpower buttons you have mapped on the game that is like set something on fire. So that is something interesting they do. They don't explain any of that. They're just necking potions all the time, right?
Yes. Yeah.
In the game, I have an idea.
That
I think it could be there's one potion called Swallow. I think it gives you +10 on your sword, so it could be that.
Sure.
I don't know why it doesn't give you +10 on punching. Same thing, right? But no, only sword attacks.
I just wish they'd explain that a little bit. These guys, like, it was a comment we had about the TV show, right?
Yeah.
Henry Cavill kept pulling out these potions and he just kept drinking them, and stuff happened with his eyes, and apparently he could do things then, but.
And we don't need the Bat Labels account where it says +10 health, plus dexterity.
Yeah,
we don't need that. It's just like, what's he doing? Have some, what's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern motherfuckers wander in and be like, what's he doing? That's the famous Witcher potion, yada yada, that gives him +15.
But even in this one, there's so much history of him going back to the fort and him talking about with the mages about making other witches, and there's a Witcher training sequence. Why not drop it in there?
Yeah, I enjoyed that though. I enjoyed the thing about the path of the trial of grasses and all that kind of stuff.
The tall grass or something. Yeah.
Never heard of that in the TV show or the video game.
Also, like the thing about the medallions
and how they work.
I'm like,
yeah,
that's a great piece of information.
Because we're not asking for exposition.
No.
Yeah.
No, and it's just that, and I think it's something we spoke about even way back when we were reviewing The Witcher. It's like, these are complex names and complex characters and weird lingo and jargon, and when it's all that adds a layer of complication that doesn't exist in Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, right? And so,
or didn't at first. They ease you into it because there's no magic. Because like dragons are dead. They get that out of the way in the first couple of episodes. This is where they used to hear the dragon bones, but there's no magic,
Yeah.
And then later, you kind of, once you're in the world, then they hit you with that stuff. And I don't know which approach I prefer, because Shadow and Bone took that approach as well. They just went balls deep, right? They were like throwing out names of places and characters and worlds and like
sandboats.
Exactly. And it was just sounded like gibberish for a while, but it forces you to kind of pay attention. And with Shadow and Bone, you got that exposition eventually. I think the problem with the first season of The Witcher was that it never came.
Well, the structure didn't help. That because you were trying to figure out when you finally figured out the structure, then it was too late.
Yeah. But also, even in Shadow and Bone, they say these names, and the sandboat thing, they got on it in the end.
They got on it immediately, right?
Yeah,
in the same episode, yeah.
The point here is that these witches are necking these potions. Really great bottle, right? Really, there's a really good close-up of the bottle. Terrible for carrying, I think, because it's got a sharp bottom. I think that would have gone through pockets. As Iain has.
Oh, he has it. No, but he has a special purse.
Sure, but
He's got his Witcher purse.
Yeah, but like we still don't know what it is. We still don't know what it's called. We don't know what it does. We don't know what it's made of. It feels like that's too much homework for me to want to then go and figure out.
And to be fair, they do learn one thing from the game, which is they keep this just to the kingdom of Cadwin, right?
Yeah.
The second game comes with a map. You got to have a map. It's also on 2 discs for the Xbox 360. But it's an assassin. It's not Assassin of King. It's Assassin of Kings. So it's like there's multiple kingdoms. Everyone's talking about, you have to be careful about Nilfgaard to the north. I still, after the TV, I don't understand what the deal is with Nilfgaard at all. They're bad, I guess. But like, there's Nilfgaard. There's at least 4 other kingdoms. I think they're all vying for control, and that does make an interesting, pre-Prussian Empire style, everything, straining against each other pre-World War I milieu. But I don't know who anybody is. So it was good that it kept it to a small number of people.
And I think to go back to the Game of Thrones thing, I think what Game of Thrones did very well, and I guess this is written into the story, right? That whenever they moved, there's a different look. They go from cold to less, like from snow to like a cold place, and then they go across the sea to the desert, then they go to the Mediterranean. There's always shifting locations, and that helps keep you the audience sort of on board with what's going on, where we are, which family. But if we just go from one snow mountain to another snow mountain, and then you tell us
one swamp to another swamp,
and not only that, but then you can say like, oh, these mages can also do fake things, and then just like now you're just throwing in another thing I have to think about. So I think the Witcher series doesn't do enough for people trying to get on board.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't help. It doesn't sort of take your hand along with you.
Which is exactly apparently the trajectory of the games. The first game was completely impenetrable and had to be patched multiple times, and was still very, very impenetrable. Apparently. That's
the one where the horse shows up on roofs and stuff, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. That could be Skyrim.
I've seen pictures.
But even just anyway. I think because it was on PC, so you've got mouse and keyboard. You haven't got. You've tried to squeeze it onto a controller was hard enough, but there is like multiple systems of potion drinking. You can only drink your potions before you go into battle. Multiple swords, different throwing daggers, bombs, traps, all sorts of shit that you have to organize at the same time, and the fighting scene, parrying and all that kind of stuff as well. You can parry attacks, which is a timing thing, and that can be hard to do if your PC rig's having any problems, and it doesn't welcome you in.
But I think that's also a function of the way you were mentioning earlier, Ian, the way the books are structured, because they are these series of stories that don't necessarily have a narrative arc to them. And
that's what I mean. Like, along with the gratuitous bath shots, I think being a little bit hard to get into might be one of the hallmarks of the franchise.
And also, I guess when a producer comes along and tries to mine that for a kind of coherent thread to then make into a 10-episode show, it's difficult.
Very.
Right? But I go back to what we said about the original series as well. It's very clear that the people who are making it are they understand that material so well. For me, the problem was they forgot to explain some of it to the rest of us.
It's those annoying memes where you see the video or the photo of the guy leaning over the bored-looking girl at the party. Right? It's basically the TV version of that. And so the mages accidentally create these creatures, so they create these witchers to hunt them down, and their medallions glow when they're doing this. And they drink these potions. It's really, really good. It's that annoying kid who's only talks about Star Wars when you were 8.
But only in this instance, I need one of those guys, right? And that's kind of the
Right now, in this rendition of The Witcher, in this rendition
The
Witcher, with Anya Taylor-Joy,
I'd watch that show.
In this rendition of The Witcher, they've removed so much exposition, it almost feels like a Dane Side movie, right? I mean, I'm just saying.
Come on, man, that's uncalled for. I have to go there, dude. Come on.
No exposition. Anyway.
Is this via Weira and Hairul Azreen going to be one of the greatest segues of all time?
Look at that! Look at that! Look at that segue, motherfucker! Woo!
How long did it take you to think this through?
Wait.
No, I thought that's what Uma was doing.
We should remind people what this one's called though. It's The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf. It drops August 23rd on Netflix. Check it out if you're a fan. We know you're going to, and we want to know what you think actually, because if you're a hardcore Witcherer, I think that's what they called. I don't know. I just made that.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think of the anime. Let us know what you thought of the original series. I say we talk about it being impenetrable, but my mom's 73. She watched it, loved every minute of it. I think that's partly because of Henry Cavill.
Yeah, let's be honest. That's probably why as well. Yeah, to be fair.
So reach out on our social media feeds, Goggler MY. Also, email us if you're old-fashioned that way. podcast@goggler.my or 012-524-5208 is the hotline. You can WhatsApp us there with all of your thoughts about this show or anything else.
Just on your mum there, did she also watch Henry Cavill assemble his PC during the lockdown?
Oh, I have not showed her that video.
I was just going to say.
I think she would enjoy that.
But I think we need to do that so we can gauge. If she doesn't watch all of that, then that's an interesting counterpoint to her Witcher love.
Correct. But she does like the Superman stuff and the Enola Holmes stuff. So. There you go. Okay. Which brings us to Hantu, which is the brand new Malaysian original on Disney Plus Hotstar. As you know, we've spoken about it lots. There have been 3 originals that were commissioned or bought over by Disney when they launched, right? It was J2J Retribusi, Zombietopia, and this is the 3rd one, Hantu, which is a horror comedy. It is the directorial debut of Hairul Azreen, who you've seen in Pascal Kau, Vera. It's co-written by Adrian Tay, who directed Pascal Kau and Vera. And so the gang's kind of
mentioning Pascal Kau and mentioning Malaysian horror comedy, don't run away.
No.
Stick around. There's more to say than this is not Hantu Kaglima.
Almost ran away.
This is not Hantu Kaglima.
Hang on. I just want to say we've spoiled it already, but I went into this thinking it was a straight up horror. I didn't know it was a horror comedy.
Okay. From the trailer, I got an idea that it was a horror comedy, that it had these comedic moments, right?
I just thought that was standard fare for Malaysian films.
And we shouldn't give. I don't know. It's been out a week. We shouldn't give away the twist. We should do spoilers at the very end, I guess, maybe.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if many people have seen it because this is live. So, I guess they can stop watching. But I mean, I don't want to give away what happens at the beginning of the 3rd act because that's a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah, because I have my comments structured around like naming people so that it doesn't give away with their role and stuff like that. So I thought about. I just want to make sure you guys thought about this a lot because you don't want to give away the thing.
No, we don't.
And it's not that anyone's a Witcher.
It's not. Well, no. So, just right off the bat, this is a very good film. Like, I was watching it, and I was 20 minutes into this film, and everything gets moving super quickly, right? So it's based around this character Aleph, who's a kind of a burgeoning content creator, right? He's not a YouTube star, but he's got a bit of a following, and he makes fun of this ghost sighting, right? He has a reaction video to this ghost sighting, and he gets trolled on the internet for it. The usual stuff. It's like, oh, can you do better? I bet you don't dare go and stay in a house with ghosts. Whatever, man. That kind of stuff. And so his friends decide to challenge him on his birthday and say, hey, man, we got a great idea for content. Why don't we go to a haunted house, spend the night, and you can prove everybody wrong?
Yeah.
And that's the setup of the premise. I mean, we've seen that setup many times before. God knows Hollywood movies have done it, and TV shows have done it. And so everything moves along very, very quickly. Like 10 minutes into it, we're already at the haunted house. And for me, the moment I kind of went, oh, Hairul Azreen, Adrian Tay, in this movie, they know what they're doing, is when they do the tour of the house. Because for me, that kind of reflected a maturity of direction that we see in Hollywood films. Like all haunted house movies, you show people the lay of the land and then you fuck things up, right?
Yeah.
And they did it right up front. And I was like, oh, I see where he's going with this. And this is very, very smartly constructed.
Yeah. Because that house could be confusing because they do go from the ground floor, they go downstairs they go upstairs to the rooms, but there's a point when they're doing the walk.
The piano room, yeah.
Is the piano room downstairs? Oh, yeah. There was
That's
some.
downstairs.
It's like a semi-floor.
Yeah.
Thing.
So I was like, it was either there or the bathroom, and I was like, wait, I'm not sure about this. But then, whether that's the actual geography of the house or not, they kept to it. So those rooms,
Yes.
you did continue to go from one of those rooms to the other room. It didn't they didn't lose track.
Also, because that is such a crucial element in the explanation of the tone shift or twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That if they hadn't set that up, you would just be going, "Oh, fuck off! You just made all that up."
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought, kudos to Hairul Azreen, and even that tone shift is something they tried to pull off in Pasal Cow and failed, right?
Yeah.
Because Pasal Cow starts off as this rom-com, and then they try to switch things up and make it an action film.
Yeah.
The thing was, though, it was a bloody awful rom-com that turned into an absolutely terrible action movie.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they have corrected those missteps in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I wasn't quite sure within the first 20 minutes. Like, in the first 20, 25, 30 minutes of this film, it was very competently done. It wasn't special, right? I was like, oh, it's another sort of, teen gen whatever sort of horror movie where they go to this haunted house, they get stuck, I was expecting that, and I got it, but what really sort of made it for me was, like you said, Umar, the explanation later.
Yeah.
The breakdown of it later really sort of made me go back and go, holy shit, this is very well constructed.
Because there is a point where the horror part of it, we're going to tie ourselves in nuts. The horror part of this,
I know, right?
Where let's say where Elif's getting scared, there's certain things going on there, and I was starting to think they've screwed up because they're escalating too fast, or they're doing multiple escalations. Horror movies have to have a rhythm. You have to have your scares, and then classic example, classic is the I think it's a triple fake out in What Lies Beneath I've mentioned before, where Michelle Pfeiffer opens the door to the bathroom. I think there's something in the mirror. Then it's like she realizes it's a reflection. Then there's something in the bath. That's the dog. And then there's something really scary happens. And you're like, it completely catches you out. In this, he's going from room to room. Each room is more horrors and more worse things are happening. And then you look at the running time. It's like, oh, they've nowhere left to go.
Yes.
But then they flip it on its head.
Yeah.
And there were things that I thought were mistakes. Like, you do hear the squeaking noise.
Yes.
The first time around. I mean, there's a point where they Back to the Future 2 it, basically, is the way they could say we could do it, right?
Yeah.
And the squeaking noise was something that I noticed but didn't comment on or didn't think that hard about. I just thought it was some weird... Because there is... Later on, it's after that. Later on, there is a noise when they go into the flashback for some reason, which knocked me for six. I was like, what? And then I just thought, the squeaky noise is just part of that. But then they explained the squeaky noise repeatedly.
Yes.
And that was great.
Oh, they explain everything.
Yeah.
The stupidity of having twigs and leaves inside a house.
Yes.
Where all the windows and doors are closed.
Yeah. And that's the kind of thing where you would that's oh God.
It's lazy set dressing that makes sense in this movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the
but it's lazy set dressing in every other Malaysian movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they're clearly making fun of.
Yeah.
No, and I think that's what I was gonna say. It works for this one because there's an excuse for it. Everything is explained, right? And the when they first get to the house, Hairul Azreen has a reaction when he's trying to take Alif's photo.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he goes, I just thought I saw something. And you're like, so because when the twist happens, you're not thinking back about it. But then they show you what happens. We're just talking in knots right now. We're just sort of
Yep.
But if you've seen the movie,
POV,
you know
exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, and I think it's that they've laid the groundwork. They know where they put all the spots. They know where to come back and pick it up.
Yeah.
And they know pieces they've left behind.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the other thing as well. There are pieces that they've left behind that, again, make sense in the essentially the second twist.
It's like a Soderbergh heist ghost movie. It's a Geist movie.
A Geist movie.
Because there is here's how things happened, right? That's what we're talking around.
No, but again, there's also that thing where there are things that they didn't explain.
Yeah.
So there are things they've left behind that sort of makes you go, oh, wait, actually, there could be something more here.
Yes. However, we've been talking about the construction of the film, but I have to say, one of the reasons it works so well is also because of your 5 leads, right? In that, for the first time in a long time, the dialogue doesn't make me want to shoot myself. Like it's when these friends get together and they're talking ghost stories, and so the dialogue is very self-aware and in-world, and there's a little bit of Wes Cravenish, screamish conversations going on where they're pointing out these. We find out why they're doing it later, but they're pointing out these myths and folklores and ghost stories, and my auntie believed this, and my grandfather said this, and of course it's all part of one massive setup.
Yeah.
But
the hackneyedness of the guy doing the feng shui stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Your first time round, you're like, oh god, this is so dumb. I can't believe they're putting this in a movie, and then you're like,
But it's exactly the kind of thing you will see in a Malay horror film.
But it's also exactly
exactly
the kind of thing you'll encounter in Malaysia. I have a friend
That's
whose
true.
family, his mother and his sister had power chairs in the house, and they would do things, and they were going to they were going to build the front door out, but also they were suggesting, water is good, so you should extend your bedroom out over the pool. It's like, how am I going to support that? I can't leave a room over. It's like, you put a pole supporting it.
Yeah.
It's your pool.
Yeah. Sure.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What?
No.
Water pole dancing, people.
Yeah. He eventually had enough and threw the feng shui master out of his house.
Jesus.
But yeah, and so I think the dialogue, the performances by these 5, they kind of all serve the story. I mean, the jokes are actually driven by story and character, as opposed to just random slapstick shit that people include because it'll incite a laugh. And so, I found this movie to be surprisingly tight, well constructed, just everything about it I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Which is
something
we hardly ever say about Malaysian movies.
Also, refer to our previous shows where we also reviewed the other Malaysian movies that were on Disney Plus last time.
Also, I want to point out directorial debut.
Yeah.
Yes.
The competence in managing the actors, the camera work isn't too fancy, but it's also not just on a tripod. It's not boring.
Yep.
There's a competency in the way, like you said, Umar, the way the camera shows the space they're in.
Yeah.
The way they note certain things. Right? Oh, he's going to put the GoPro here. Everybody sees it, right? Because it's going to come back later. And that's sort of directorial competency, which is really interesting.
We've been talking about Hantu, I don't know, by maybe about 10 minutes now, right? So I'm going to pass it over to Ian McNally to address his personal bugbear. Finally, a Malaysian movie whose reach doesn't exceed its grasp.
Yeah, I mean, you put it. I was going to bring that up. It's like it's. We're going to have to get T-shirts done because.
No, hang on. Okay. Wait. Let us know if you want us to make that T-shirt.
Yeah, but what is it?
We'll pull it through.
Please don't exceed your grasp. I don't know what would the T-shirt say, but yes. It's in your review. You said it in your review, but it is that idea of like, and we do get people, I won't name names in case they don't want to say it, but we do get people complaining about this. They talk about, we want to have government talks about we want to have a film industry like Korea, like they want to get the Oscar Parasite. But even Parasite, yes, they did build that house, right? That's not a real house? So it's a set, but like he did the host and stuff like that before where he pushed it, but he pushed it within certain realms.
Yeah.
And this is it's shot in a single location. What was the Mystery Delilah was the one that I bring up that was like better than I expected as well. Also set in a bungalow because Malaysians love calling multi-story buildings bungalows. It's not right. Bungalow is one story. I don't think you should call this a bungalow. I don't think so, right? Because it's not. Anyway,
I think in the description the subtitles say a mansion.
Yeah, but it's set in one location. Yeah. They use that location very well. There's no god awful special effects. Like, there are special effects in here, but they're the type of special effects you get in any TV show or movie made these days where they're cleaning up things or hiding things or doing the color correction. It's not Sharifa Amani throwing a hand grenade at the dinosaur.
Yeah.
That's how I spoiled I spoiled that movie for some friends recently, and they were like, "What?" They had no idea.
I've noticed that the chat on Twitter is that when people found out that that was in the movie, that made them want to go watch the movie.
Yeah, but that's not,
Not what.
To be fair, Ian, when you told me there was a dinosaur in the movie, I was like, "What the fuck? I need to watch this movie."
And then you regretted it instantly, right?
Yep.
But yeah, it does that all really well. There's something that really struck me, and I thought, oh, is this like a fuck up? And it's just they left it in. When they first arrive at the house, Alif says, "What's up, channel? Welcome to my guys."
Yes.
And they show you that multiple times on the phone and on YouTube channel. So they left it in on purpose, which is exactly the kind of thing that YouTubers would do. And it wasn't a Malay thing. It's that it can work in a way if you think about it, but it's not what people say, right?
Yes, no.
It's wrong. It's a spoonerism. He flipped the words around, right? Or not, whichever the proper version.
Yeah.
But it was an attention to detail that was just
absolutely
nice.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw that in the trailer, I was like, oh my God, is this just bad writing? Is this an actor screwing up his line? But it's not. It feels in character. That is something he would do. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's exactly why this movie succeeds so well. Goes back to that thing that we bitch about all the time. Attention to detail, attention to detail, attention to detail, right? I mean, the thing we always talk about, even when we're reviewing Hollywood movies, is what separates a great director from a lazy director. And a great director, and in the movie made by a great director, everything kind of slots into place perfectly.
Or even if it doesn't, you don't notice, because everything, when we talk about everything slotting into place, it's not just the plot and the background. You can have a stormtrooper banging his head. You can have someone holding the desk up behind Neo. It doesn't matter when you're swept along by the story.
Exactly. And what I mean by perfectly is I think it's when all of these things come together to work really well, right? Whether it's lighting, music, direction, dialogue, all of that stuff. And I think with Ada Hantu, we're watching something which is unlike a lot of Malaysian productions in that there is that amount of attention to detail, more so when you're trying to pull off a Geist movie, right? Because
what have I done?
I mean, created a new subgenre. But because when something involves a kind of a heist element or a twist element, all the more reason people are going to go back and watch it and go back and look for all the mistakes or all the hints that you've put along the way. We see it in the Shyamalan movies. Like, I remember the first time I watched The Sixth Sense, and after that reveal happened, and then when I watched it the second time, I was like, oh my God, all the clues are here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it isn't just some Deus Ex Machina that resolves everything neatly in a book.
They didn't use the heist reveal as a way to fix all the plot problems.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
And haunted house movies do that a lot. The bad haunted house movies, suddenly there's a secret room that you never knew of before, or something else comes in to save the day. And they don't rely on that. So they kind of build a horror and they build a comedy, and both of that seems to work kind of seamlessly to tell this very, yet again, trying not to spoil anything, twisty, satisfying story.
But we should, I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's not The Sixth Sense. I mean, it's good. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm saying it's a good movie, but it's not The Sixth Sense. It's not
it's not that kind of twist. It's not going to leave you.
But it's also, when we talk horror comedies, it's not The Evil Dead 2, It's good. It's a lot better than we're used to, and it's a good movie. I mean, there's moments that the comedy aspect of it could have landed a bit better. So with the scares, like I said, the scares weren't, and you said this in your review as well, the scares don't do anything crazy new. I did like in the comedy, it's going to give their names, not their character names, but not give them away. There's a point where Peter and Suresh are in the room, and Alif appears suddenly, and they don't expect it.
Yes.
And there's a moment where they break kayfabe, as it was for a minute. They break character for a second, and then they instantly, in unison, pull it together. And that was just... That moment, I was like, that's great. That is firing on all 15 cylinders.
For me, it was... and this is, again, sort of that follow-up on what you're talking about, Ian. There's a point where Suresh...
The hey bro moment?
Alif stumbles into Suresh and he's sitting down at a table, right? When it first happens, I I was genuinely a little freaked out, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's a classic weird ghost in the background moment.
Yes, right, exactly. And then when they reveal it from the other side, you go like, "Mother of hell, you guys are good." There's a confidence here. You know, there's a competence here. The way they build how I think it was it was not Jimmy. It was the Peter as well, where Peter and Suresh are sort of moving along.
Yeah, how the reveal of that was, it's like, of course, that's how they would do it.
I was just like, holy shit, of course, that's how they do it.
But there's a moment,
so good.
The follow-up moment where Suresh realizes that he thinks the jig is up, and the way he turns around and says, "Hey, bro, I'm sorry, bro," is so just perfect. Like, it's that, you know that guy. Also, he was the blue overall henchman who didn't get a good send-off in J. Retribusi.
Yes, he was.
And he was also in Pascal and Pascal Car, right?
Yeah,
he was also in the both of them. Yeah. And I think I think to say this movie is competent is doing it a disservice.
Yeah.
It's more than competent.
It's good.
It's good. It's very entertaining, you know, and you will enjoy it.
No, I just wanted to add, it's also not just good and entertaining for a Malaysian movie.
Yeah.
I think it is something you will put on a weekend and you will have a great time. It is much better than a lot of the other horror garbage that's on any other streaming service that they keep churning out, right? So I think it's just it's lovely for us. It's nice for us that this was a homemade production, like a locally made, locally homegrown production, right?
Yeah.
One thing though, just to come back to what you were saying earlier about the dialogue and it feeling natural and all that kind of stuff. They say "guys" 82 times in this movie.
You counted?
No, I found the subtitle file and I did a search.
Of course, Ian would find the subtitle.
But it is 82 times, and I think it is a Malaysian taken away, but it's like it's a lot in this.
It is actually. We do say "guys" a lot.
Oh, come on, guys, let's go. Hey, guys, come on, guys, let's go, guys. Guys, what are you doing, guys? Guys, everything starts with "guys," and I get that, but it's like, whoa, it gets a bit wearing after a while.
Because I'm just thinking to myself, like, how would I not use the word "guys"? You know, in all the way they've used it, how would I not?
But it's one of those things where it's like one of those things where no one says hello on a telephone. You just say, "Let's go." You don't have to say, "Guys, let's go." It's like getting attention.
Yeah,
but it is true to Malaysian speak, but it is just like 82 times. And the thing is, most of those are from who is it? I think it's Shikrin Kamal. I think it's mostly her telling the others what to do. So it's mostly concentrated in the back half of the movie, I think, as well. So it's
just such a versatile word. It's like almost like the F word. Guys, come on, guys. You know, there's so many ways you can use it.
I was also a little bit disappointed that they didn't actually set up Alif's channel on YouTube and put the GoPro footage on there.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been great.
Maybe that was the plan or whatever that, but like it's so well put together. He has been watch the end of the video to how I believe, bro. Because bro is the usual one you get. You get bro. I would expect bro more than guys, but they didn't do that. And they did the GoPro. I think it was they broke Chekhov's GoPro, right? They had GoPros everywhere, and we didn't use them. I thought there was going to be a payoff for that.
That's true. Yeah.
So they just put get the YouTube channel. You have his intro video, and they just put some weird GoPro footage. Yeah. You got him right. I mean, they could be the next Blair Witch.
That would have been a great promo run for it.
Yeah. I mean, they did use the GoPro footage in the film because we got GoPro Cam, right? Like GoPro View, and we did see some of that. But just going back to the scares, despite not doing anything new or fresh, there were still moments when I went, just a little bit, right? Because I think, and I mentioned this in my review, while they rely on the old-fashioned stuff, and because that's what the show's about, right? It's about all of the old-fashioned ghost beliefs as well. If you look at the ghost from between your legs, you see the feet flying above the air.
That was quite clever.
Those stories.
That's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing I'm always thinking that they should be doing more of. That's taking the Malaysian viewpoint outside of Malaysia.
And I think it's because they executed those fundamentals well.
Yeah.
That. It still proved to be scary despite not I don't know, despite not going down a zany J horror route where we get like all kinds of new scares we've never seen before, it didn't really affect this movie. This was not that movie.
Technically, this is a J horror movie as well.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got there. Yeah. Got there in the end. My bad.
But the first time they did the foot thing, I don't know whether it was just my laptop or what. I didn't see Jimmy's legs. I think the lighting was a bit... They were hard to see. So I was like, oh. And then I went back 2-3 times. I was like, wait, no, it's just dark. But I do think that the scariest thing in the movie is Hairul Azreen's hat and scarf combo at the beginning of the movie. Like not the one he wears in the house, but the first one he's wearing. It's like... He's like one of those... You know the guys who... I don't know if you remember the Fast Show. They used to have this random sketch of South... Like Peruvian panpipe guys in the weirdest locations, and he looked like that. I mean, the photo we have of him here is his second act hat, but the first act hat is like, is this your directing? Yeah, is this your directing hat or? Yeah. Interesting choice. Interesting choice.
He didn't have time to get into wardrobe.
I will say though,
I think he spent too much time in wardrobe. Yeah.
I think wardrobe is always an issue here. You know, I'm just like. Yeah, unfortunate. But
which one's anyway, Talha? He's the one with the hat. Which hat? In the script, it just says "man with hat," right?
Man with hat. Yeah, I think we could do better, but I think overall, there's so much here to enjoy. I think, and I definitely worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch.
Yeah.
Also, after watching Beckett, absolutely excellent seatbelt etiquette.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's important to have seatbelt etiquette. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But you know, I'm watching any horror movie or any movies now when there's a conversation in the car and the camera's in the middle. I'm expecting a bus. I can't expect a bus, right?
Yeah.
It scarred me for life, right? Just where we've seen it in Cloud Atlas, we've seen it in so many shows. And also, I think it's Constantine that scarred me for life. Every time someone's walking across the street now and the camera's panning.
Oh, yeah, that's like, also...
there's a bus coming.
I mean, it was the first Final Destination had at the end, right? The bus just gets you and you don't see it. Yeah, so as a result, if anyone does that shot and that doesn't happen and it's not a horror movie, I think it's a horror movie. I feel like it's getting tense. In this, they stop because there's a cat in front of the car. Ali takes the seatbelt off and he takes it off again when we get to the house. Keep your seatbelts on, people. Doesn't matter if it's uncomfortable, whatever. I can't impress this on people enough. Wear your seatbelts. Doesn't matter how short the journey. No, it just winds me up nowadays because if you haven't seen Beckett, have you guys watched Beckett yet?
No. Not yet.
There's a long...
You told us don't waste your time.
There's a bloody long scene of one actor basically jumping around the car to indicate they're not wearing a seatbelt. And I'm like, I hope something bad happens to you now. Oh, it did? Good. Just wear your seatbelts.
Okay, Bahir, when Ada Hantu becomes available like on digital media or something, on actual physical media, maybe you can cut a seatbelt PSA out of those things.
Oh yeah.
Also just edit together all the guys into just one supercut.
Guys.
Oh, that's a lot of work for 82. Yeah.
Speaking of Bahir, was this good enough that it overcame your blue light at night aversion?
Oh, I was gonna say they don't do it too much because they're not. The only time if I'm not mistaken, the only time there was blue light was when they were outside the house.
I think there's some. I remember very much on a leaf at certain points, and I think that might be
in the bedroom.
I think that might be in the first go around, maybe, which it would make even if it is only in the first go around and not in the second go around, that would make it even more clever. That would make it more impressive to me because if you have
that means they put it into it,
yeah, they put it in purpose.
It felt intentional.
Yeah. And I think for me, there's that. For me, it didn't bother me as much as it normally would have. And I think it's because I was paying attention to the story. Yeah. I was drawn up by the story, right? I was going along with Alif and the gang, and I wasn't sitting there nitpicking about whether the light's too blue for moonlight. I will say that, Ian, you had an image earlier of the gang in the hallway in the green.
Yeah,
I love that. I think, and only because I've been in old houses where
there's weird glass.
That green glass, exactly, right? So that makes sense. That shot, it makes sense to me. It's not a green filter on a light, and even if it was, it's because these houses also had colored glass sometimes. So that really, and especially in that hallway where it is in the story, it's perfect. It's great design.
Yeah, actually, a lot of that stuff played with the setting really well, in a way that makes sense, and even in a way that they explain just little things like when they walk in, it's like, why does this bedroom have 5 beds? And there were houses where parents would sleep on one side and children would sleep on the other side, right?
It's losing your location well. Same way that the point where I would normally ask, well, why doesn't he go wake everyone up? Because everything's going to shit. And then he goes in and they're not there. They answer that question in my mind immediately.
Yes.
I can't. Something did that a while ago, like last year, the year before, and I'm amazed when movies do that. When you're thinking, all right, it's a so-so movie, I'm a little bit ahead of it. Why doesn't he just do that? Oh, okay, he can't do that because this thing. It's like, thank you for thinking of that and thinking of your audience and answering that question, rather than just have it as I have it as a complaint I'm going to write in my review and be accused of being nitpicking when actually the filmmaker didn't think about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas here, that's not the case.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the big takeaway with Hantu, right? You can finally support a movie, a Malaysian movie, not just for the sake of supporting it, because it's actually good.
And when do you guys know when it was made? Because there's a COVID joke in there, and there's a MySuggestra app.
There is a MySuggestra joke
and a scanner.
Is.
And there's I think the most they have on screen at one time is 12 people near the end.
Well, I think it would have had to be made either last year or late 2019. I think last year, because I'm just thinking of when they would have made Pasal Cow, right? And then released Pasal Cow, and it would have been after that.
Well, it would have been at Christmas, I think things opened up, right? Because I went away. September also things opened up, and there were, from my friends in the film industry, I think they were able to open up a little bit before this current lockdown.
Correct.
So they could have gotten this, but this could have been a 2-week shoot, right? You can do this at a 2-week shoot.
Oh, I think maybe closer to 3 or 4.
Maybe 3 or 4, but there was windows, and they managed to do it.
It was essentially 2 or 3 locations. Yeah.
No, but I think if you guys are right. There is a way here to shoot that you'd stay in a bubble.
Yeah.
Minimal crew, the cast is all the same, and I think you're fine. I also want to say, I just want to say, those 2 police officers at the end are the best police officers I've ever seen.
Hilarious.
How did they get away with that? Because they're not like... There's like a point where he's like, where they're explaining what they're doing, and he's like, looking for content. And it's so... Like, he understands what they're talking about. Everyone's looking for that content. What are we doing right now? We're doing that content!
Also, just like the way the two cops were trading barbs with the audience, with the cast, the way they were joking with themselves. Like, I think one of them offered the other one a drink or something.
And he's like, no, because he's eating all those biscuits. He's eating like a massive wedge of really dry biscuits.
And here's the thing. Because I know how it's done here, you can't have non-police officers as police officers, right? So those guys are the best. Can I get their names?
Wait, really? You can't even try? I mean, even with COVID rules, maybe they didn't relax that? Because...
I don't believe so, no.
Hakim Nordin was the main guy, right? I don't know if I know him because he doesn't have many other credits.
Oh, I wouldn't know. I mean, they look like real cops. Well, hang on, let me try and rephrase that. I don't think, I don't know if they're real cops. I don't know if they're...
We're live, Bahir. We're live. Just remember that. We're live.
I'm watching, No, but from what I know, to shoot, you can't have non-cops playing cops here in Malaysia.
But I thought you can get permission, right? So like in Police Evo and stuff.
In everything that Bron Polaris played a cop in, right?
No, but as in the other guys are all cops. They have to be cops, I believe.
Oh, other than the main stars.
You want to make...
their comic timing... I mean, I had it in my notes. It's like perfect asshole cops.
Yeah.
Because they're just the right amount of condescending.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's...
No, but also, that's fine. But then it's that next step after that, when they're trying to recap the story. When they're trying to explain everything. The way those 2 guys were just sitting there, like Ian was saying, talking, eating the biscuits, drinking the drinks. I was beautiful. I think they were great. I think they were...
Even though they have to be actors, because the time he says that, like, the comic timing on Never in All My 15 Years on the Force, $10.
Yes.
It's only 10. 10.
It's
just
a lot of that's great. Yeah.
So third time's the charm for Disney Plus Hotstar.
But now we get into the crazy thing. Like, this is the same people who made Weira and then also made Pasal Cow and then made this. What?
Yeah.
Is there something wrong with their brains? Is it like they get ghost ridden or something by bad movie directors, and they're the good directors?
But like they did. Pascal was also pretty
Pascal
well.
was
I
also
enjoyed
good.
Pascal.
I haven't watched Pascal yet. I think
and
Pascal
think
Cow put me off.
I think it's just with Pascal Cow, it was the wrong genre for them. I just think it was the wrong genre. I think they went into it thinking we want to make a rom-com action movie thriller heist.
I think there was nothing wrong with the concept, but everything about the characters and everything else was fucking awful.
Yeah,
and the jokes fell flat. And like I do plan to rewatch Rewatch because I saw that in cinema. Yeah, did you go with me? Yeah. We saw that in cinema, right?
I don't think I saw it.
Yeah.
I didn't see Rira. Yeah.
I went to see it in the cinema and I was like, oh, like it's the reaction. Have you guys? You've seen Weira now, have you?
I haven't seen Weira yet.
Okay, you should watch Weira. You haven't seen either, but here.
I haven't seen either.
Jesus Christ, go watch Weira. It's the best Dean Say doing Alan Rickman you'll ever see. Did I not tell you this at the time? He does Alan Rickman in Die Hard, and it's fucking awesome. He's the only one who speaks English for the whole movie, I think.
No,
so
but the problem...
it's better than Dane Side playing a blind guy in Pascal Cow then.
That's the problem, right? Like, I've seen Pascal Cow, and then now you're telling me that they do it better in Mira.
See, there was this feeling of joy in my chest, and you just snuffed it right out.
I think Bahir's right. I think with Pascal Cow, you can boil it down to a real problem in writing, right? So the conception stage was already flawed in that film because the jokes didn't land. The
characters didn't work.
The characters didn't
work. There was a weird character.
Plot twist. It cannot function, right? Yeah, exactly. Because none of it made sense and it wasn't coherent. And and they clearly ran into some kind of production issues because the ending was incoherent, had animated sequences thrown in. There were all kinds of weirdness with that show.
Well, that was middle pandemic. We got to watch that, right? Was that middle of the year last year?
It was mid-pandemic, which meant it would have been shot in 2019.
But maybe they needed to pick up some of the animated. So I think the animated stuff was fight scenes weren't working, which is weird because the fight scenes at the bomb and Weira.
Or someone in this movie just really couldn't fight. Yeah, but
in that movie, right. I think it definitely wasn't Hairul Azreen because he could fucking fight. Jesus, would you guys just go and watch Weira for God's sake? Jesus,
okay.
I've been banging this drum. I've been banging this drum for 3 years now. It's really good.
Okay. We'll go watch it this weekend.
Yeah,
that is on our to-do list.
Yeah.
Umar says he'll watch it this weekend. I will watch it eventually.
Yeah, no, watch. This. I would say if you enjoyed this, you will definitely enjoy Weira. It is. Nice. I would say it's not the raid, but it's pretty. It's close as Malaysia's going to get for a while.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I need to watch it again now to make sure I can live up to that. And I wasn't high. They weren't piping laughing gas into the cinema.
Drunk,
no.
McNally, what was going on?
No, just in case they were pumping
checks for that one. My friend.
They were pumping laughing gas into the theater to try and get good reviews.
So I mean, if I guess Disney Plus Hotstar, if you're listening, this is a good benchmark.
More of this, please.
Do this. Yeah.
Also, everyone, please go and watch this and get all the way through, so they have those metrics and say, oh, they like this, as opposed to because they have our metrics that we watched. I've forgotten the name of it already, but I keep expunging it from my brain, so I don't have to think about it. Zombietopia. They know we watched it all the way through.
Yeah. But then if you just go online, you find out why people are watching it all the way through, and I don't think that's the right metric.
But that's the metric they're going to take. That's it. It's all down to the
data people are like.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, you saw the stories that came out about what was Netflix watched movies, right? They were all mostly garbage fires, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So Ada Hantu, more of this, please. Thank you very much, and also I guess Malaysian filmmakers. Take a look.
More of this, please. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're not against the experimenting. If you want to do a comedy, action, heist, thriller, rom-com, go ahead. But
if it doesn't work, don't expect us to be happy about it.
Correct. Yeah. If you want to make a zombie film with dinosaurs, sure.
If I ever make a movie, the first one I make isn't going to be a Transformers movie because there's no fucking way. Unless it's like the toys, it's stop motion animation. I wouldn't even do a stop motion animation Transformers movie because I'd screw that one up. Do you know what? Do you know what my first movie's about? It's about two guys talking on Zoom.
And we'll try not to fuck that one.
Wait, is this supposed to be on? Is this, are we on right now?
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on. No, that's fine.
Crap. Yeah.
Not doing
We've
this.
just been talking to ourselves for an hour.
Not like we haven't done that before.
Hey. So check out Hantu. It is now streaming on Disney Plus Hotstar Malaysia. Actually, if you're listening from around the region, I saw a promo for it on Disney Plus Hotstar Indonesia as well. So I think it is streaming in other regions, other countries in the region. So that's pretty cool. But let us know what you think as usual. Goggler MY on all of our social media feeds. Podcast@goggler.my is our email address, and 012-524-5208 is where you can WhatsApp us. It's the Goggler hotline. We answer all of your questions there. We give you recommendations, and you can share your thoughts about stuff too. Yeah,
it's not creepy at all.
It's not creepy at all. No, not at all. Not at all. Close and personal friend to talk to movies about. Yeah. Before we wrap, though, I was just going to say, Bahir and I watched something over the last couple of days. There's a review up on the site, but we really want to recommend this. And Ian, you got to check it out as well. Al Rawabi School for Girls. It is a Middle Eastern YA high school drama, and it's only 6 episodes. It's a limited series, so everything is wrapped up. We don't know if there is a season 2 planned, but
I think not. I think it's limited series. Yeah,
it doesn't need one, but it's the kind of thing that starts off one way, and we think we know where it's going, and then by the end of it, the both of us were just like, "Oh shit, that was." Woo! Yeah, that was good.
Basically, it goes places.
Does it go intense places or scary places, or I need to know?
Intense.
Okay, just tense. Okay,
intense places.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
dark, intense places. Yeah.
Okay, I think I need to pre-screen that then before I inflict it on the girlfment.
Oh no, I think this one's okay.
I think it's okay because it's not
Yeah.
horrific. It's more social commentary, psychological.
Control Z and Elite taken to 11.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's the first couple episodes feel very straightforward in that it feels like
you think you're getting Middle Eastern Elite or Middle Eastern Gossip Girl.
Yeah, it feels like there's a bullying, there's a Mean Girls type situation, but then the way it sort of escalates from there, it just goes balls to the wall.
Cool, because you've sold me off Elite.
Oh yeah. Actually, funnily enough, the first 5 minutes even feel a bit like Elite.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Al Rawabi School for Girls. You can check out a review on the site, but definitely check it out. 6 episodes. You will not be disappointed.
Also, you can try and watch Evangelion 3+1 Thrice Upon a Time.
It's hard to keep track of all the titles.
Yeah. It's also the fact that the titles on Amazon Prime don't match the theatrical releases in Japan, I think, as well. Like it's 3.0 plus 1.1. It's not 3.0 plus 1 as it is 1.0. Doesn't matter. I'm jokingly it's going to do as comedy, an ending explained, because trying to explain anything about Evangelion, is impossible. Yeah. But
I can't even explain what the show is about to recommend it to people.
having watched having skimmed the first one because I knew that's the same as the TV show, and rewatched the second because it changes a lot in the third and the fourth. Now, having done all of that in less than a week, I saw God. And he was laughing at me.
No, my friend, that's just Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna wrap this up. We've been talking for a while now. But yeah, get in touch. Let us know what you think about all the stuff we've spoken about. Witcher Nightmare of the Wolf premieres August 23rd on Netflix. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Hantu is already screening. We highly recommend you watch that as well. Thank you so much. This has been the Goggler Podcast.